What's going on, YouTube, MMA fans all across the globe? This is the one and only Intergalactic Brew. Here to do another MMA video talking about Overeem versus Werdum this Saturday night, exclusively on Showtime. It's going to be a magnificent event. Got a lot of good matches on this show here. We're going to have the continuation of the heavyweight Grand Prix tournament. Brett Rogers, Josh Barnett, Alistair Overeem, Fabricio Werdum, part 2. We got KJ Noons, we got Daniel Cormier, we got Jeff Monson. I mean, this is just going to be an action-packed, star-studded event, to say the least. So, without further ado, here we go. First fight I want to do or talk about is George Masvidal going up against KJ Noons. This will be KJ Noons, I believe, third MMA fight since his hiatus. I think it was a 2-year hiatus. KJ Noons went on to pursue his boxing / kickboxing career, and from what I've heard, he's had some great success in that. So now he's coming back home, so to speak, to MMA and try to put his name in the fold to challenge for the lightweight title currently held by Gilbert Melendez. So basically, this fight is going to be your typical striker versus, I guess, complete fighter, I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see, how KJ Noons fares against a well-rounded opponent, because give Masvidal his credit. Even though he did get exhausted in the last couple of minutes of his previous fight, he still showed all-around skill, and he was able to get the unanimous decision, although I think he should have finished his opponent. But like I said, conditioning played a factor, so there you go. But Masvidal, no doubt, will definitely need to be up and at it for this fight, because KJ Noons is a very dangerous man, especially when the fight stays standing up. Now, Masvidal's game plan is probably not a secret. He's going to want to look to get the fight to the mat, and he's going to want to stay for the fight to stay on the mat. He's going to want to get KJ Noons tired and possibly submit him or either TKO him from the top position. Who knows? But that's what Masvidal is going to have to do. Now, I believe he could hold his own standing up with KJ Noons, but Noons' hands and feet are just too sharp for Masvidal, and if KJ Noons even clips him, whether it be on the temple or in the temple, I should say, or on the chin or anywhere on his anatomy, this fight is a complete wrap. And I'm talking about like gift wrap. I mean, it's sayonara, Masvidal. So Masvidal at some point is going to have to get this fight to the mat, and I believe he can do that, because I believe Masvidal will be the bigger man slightly, and I think he will probably have the reach advantage too, and probably be the taller man in this fight as well. So hopefully he could use that size and that length to his advantage. We'll see. Hopefully conditioning is not an issue as it was previously in his last fight. And if he can basically, do all the right things and be intelligent and be calculating in this fight, he could upset KJ Noons. But then again, at the same time, the question is, can he get KJ Noons down? That is the question. KJ Noons, for people that don't know, does have good takedown defense. So, like I said, if Masvidal cannot get this to the mat, he's basically going to drown in deep water. Because I guarantee you, he will not be able to withstand the striking attack of KJ Noons for a period of time, or at least for a long period of time in that fight. Because KJ Noons, like I said, his hands sharp, his kicks are sharp, and his elbows are even sharper. If you watched his fight with Nick Diaz, the first fight, when he won the Elite XC lightweight title, you saw that he basically shredded Diaz's face. And to follow that up, if you saw what he did to Yves Edwards in their fight, he just completely busted him up with those elbows. And one of his previous fights, when he fought George Brazil, I mean, he just basically beat that guy to a bloody pulp. I mean, that guy was out on his feet, and I mean, his face was just smeared in blood. Now, although there was some controversy in that fight, because people were saying that KJ Noons delivered an illegal knee to Brazil as he was coming, or as he was trying to get back up to his feet, but I don't know. But be that as it may, KJ Noons is a bad man standing up, bottom line. And Masvidal has got to find a way to make KJ Noons commit and close the distance and shoot for a takedown and get this fight to the mat and let it stay there. Now, as far as the fight itself goes, how do I see it turning out? Well, I think that Masvidal is going to try to stand up with KJ Noons. I think his ego, his competitive ego, is going to get the best of him, and he's going to try to stand up with KJ Noons, and KJ Noons is basically going to have his way with him. I mean, you know, Masvidal may get a couple of good strikes in here and there, but KJ Noons is going to be too fast and too crafty for him, and I could just see KJ Noons eventually backing him up against the cage and, you know, maybe nailing him with a jab or either a hook or an uppercut, and probably daze him a little bit, and following that up maybe with a couple of 1-2s, and Masvidal falls to the ground and KJ Noons starts elbowing him to death until the referee pulls him off, resulting in a late second round TKO by KJ Noons. So there you go. But don't get me wrong, if Masvidal can get this fight to the mat and put KJ Noons on his back and, you know, just use the ground and pound or the elbows or the punches, or either try to go for a submission or at least attempt one, he will win. But I don't know. I just think his ego is going to get the best of him, and I think he's going to try to stand with Noons. That's just what I think. I could be wrong. I could be. Okay. Next fight we have is going to be a matchup of the wrestlers, or basically an MMA wrestling match / jiu-jitsu striking match. And that will be consisting of Daniel Cormier against Jeff the Snowman Monson. As we all know, Jeff Monson, former UFC title contender, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, D1 wrestler. Daniel Cormier, similar resume, without the jiu-jitsu. Another Division I wrestler at Oklahoma State. Was the captain of the Olympic team as well. I think back in 2008, 2007, one of those years. Um, both of these guys coming into the fight are going to want to look to get this fight to the mat. Although I think Daniel Cormier, being that he's the better overall fighter in this match, I think he might want to knock Jeff Monson out. Just my guess. Because Daniel Cormier knows he could take Jeff Monson down. He knows he's the better wrestler. He probably may not be able to submit him. Then again, I don't know. He works at he trains at American Top Team, with some good jiu-jitsu black belts. So, I don't know. He could submit him, if he does take him down, but who knows. But I'm just saying. Basically, here's how it is. Jeff Monson is going to want to get this fight to the mat early and often, without striking, without setting anything up. He's going to want to look to get on top of Daniel Cormier and go for a submission. Maybe, drop some punches and elbows to maybe set up the submission attempts, and basically try to get Daniel Cormier exhausted. And basically Daniel Cormier is going to want to look to stuff Jeff Monson's takedowns and basically keep the fight standing, although he could probably take Monson down at will. So basically, to sum it all up, I think what's going to end up happening is Cormier is going to stuff Monson's takedowns. He's going to punish Monson with strikes, and to the point where Monson is going to end up just completely folding, and I could just see Cormier maybe landing one big shot on Monson and rocking him, and basically shooting in for the takedown after that, and pounding on him until the referee decides to stop the fight. So there you go. Daniel Cormier, I'll go with late first round TKO. Next fight is the co-main event, the first half of our heavyweight Grand Prix matchup. It's going to be Brett the Grim Rogers against the babyface assassin Josh Barnett. Basically, this is your typical striker versus grappler match. Brett Rogers is going to want to look to keep the fight standing. Hopefully he'll be in good condition for this fight. Hopefully he could stuff Josh Barnett's takedowns, and hopefully land that big right hand and knock Josh Barnett out. Josh Barnett, of course, wants to take this fight to the mat, although he does have good striking, but I don't think he wants to be dumb enough to stand up with Brett Rogers to leave himself vulnerable of getting KO'd. So basically what I see happening is Josh Barnett, testing his stand-up with Rogers for maybe the first 5 to 10 minutes of the first round, and then maybe ending the round with a takedown and ending up on top. Then second round comes around, Josh Barnett just completely shoots in for a takedown, gets Rogers down, and then eventually ends up tapping Rogers out with a submission. And I could see this happening somewhere in the middle of the second round. So I'm going with Josh Barnett submission. Okay, main event time. The matchup we've all been waiting for, at least most of us have. Alistair Overeem, Fabricio Werdum. This is a rematch from Pride from a few years back. Werdum wants to score another upset, and basically Alistair Overeem wants to stake his claim as a top heavyweight in the heavyweight division. And I'm about to run out of time again, so basically I will do another video previewing this fight, so stay tuned.